Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. Galaxy Star draws away from them. Pike Magician.
Welcome to Racing Rewind. Our panel will review the Prime Metropolitan meeting of the week. They will look for the horses to follow, those to forgive, and possibly those to forget. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571. 0427 789 571.
Welcome along. It is Racing Rewind with Michael and Lochie. Good morning, lads.
Good morning, Marty, Michael, and listeners.
Morning, boys. A different day out there with the weather. The rain came a little bit throughout the day, but, geez, it was windy. It was very windy.
Very, very windy at stages throughout. Yesterday morning, we were all wondering, will the races even be on? But in the end, the track actually held up okay.
I thought it was very fair as well.
It rated a heavy 8. At times, I thought it was difficult to make up ground, but upon review, horses like Lover Session and Sensational, they were able to win from near on last. So, yeah, it's amazing what this track is being able to withstand in these recent weeks. This is a very, very wet August, and if we can just get through the next week or so unscathed, we've only lost the 3 races so far, I think that'd be a great result.
Oh, huge job, absolutely. And I think by all reports, the saving grace was the rail back into the true. That inside pad wasn't bad, and I think that was evident. How often have we seen it recently when the horses and the riders fan off that corner and really try to get to the middle and the outside of the track, where yesterday you could make ground against the rail, which we haven't seen for a long time, and you could still see how wet the track was with every stride in the straight, especially, I think it was race 6 when that real downpour came, when Russian Sniper won. The visibility would have been quite poor out there, but all in all, I thought the track played reasonably fair. In terms of the stewards' report, there was a protest lodged in race number 1, Mover Debutante. Pat Carberry was the rider, lodged a protest against William Pike and Mean Machine. When I first saw it, I thought that it was a chance of being upheld, but then watching it again and the head-on, I think Pat was still able to ride out Mover. He was still able to pull the stick, and William Pike was lifting Mean Machine, but was still pretty strong through the line. So I thought all in all, correct call.
Agree completely. Jade McNaught was off her rides as well. She has an injured hand, so hopefully we see Jade back in the saddle shortly. And unfortunately, Universal Flare bled from both nostrils, so she'll be off to the paddock for a little while.
Jade hurt her knee not long ago as well.
Yeah, when I actually heard that Jade was off rides yesterday morning, I thought, okay, maybe that knee has flared up. So she's just had a few niggling little injuries over the last few weeks. So hopefully that hand is all clear structurally and she can be back in the saddle in a couple of weeks' time.
Seem a long way over there, Loch. Lonely?
It is a bit lonely over here.
Any celebrations last night, of course. We've be remiss for us not to mention Search and Rocks, first up. First win in the race since it's become the Idyllic Prince. I think it's Jim's 5th or 6th win in the race?
6th.
6th win in the race itself, but first since it's become the Idyllic Prince Stakes. So that would have to be a bit of a thrill, I'd imagine. Yeah,
really special day for the family, obviously, with that connection. But then I think also our whole family got a big kick out of Steve. You know, he said post-race to Scott that this was the race that he really wanted to win all week for his grandmother. And obviously we all know it's been a hard week for the Parnham family. So with Dad's close connection with Neville over so many years, and obviously Brittany and I, being the younger generation, have so much respect and admiration for someone like Neville. So our thoughts are always with the Parnham family, but I think our family got a really big kick out of Steve saying something like that as well.
Yeah, 100%. And for yourself as well, you've been telling Scott and I the last 2 weeks that you've been training them all since Jim's hurt himself and put the polish on, so a bit of extra satisfaction for you.
Yeah, 460 into 230 punters.
Hey, Loch, run through the winners of the Idyllic Prince. So it used to be the Goodwood.
Yes.
There's only been 2 horses, I think, that have won the 5 before that, wasn't it?
Well, so Idyllic Prince won 4.
4, yeah.
And then Barrackey won 1.
Yep.
And now Search and Rocks is Dad's 6th winner in the race.
That was just when I was getting into racing Idyllic Prince, and I think I backed him. He was my favourite horse at the time. I think I backed him a few years in a row.
He was one of your favourites as well, Marty. You always tell the story to me that there was something on when you were at Perth Racing and at Ascot.
No, I think it was West Oz Racing. We had the website, West Oz Racing. I declared him one day in one of the Goodwoods. You know, this is where racing journalists used to declare winners a long time ago. And I remember after the race, your dad come and shook my hand and said you're a genius for tipping the horse.
Yeah, I bet that didn't happen.
No, he was a beauty, wasn't he? You didn't have to be too clever to latch onto him. He was a ripper. He brought effort and did his best every time he went to the track, that horse, and really looking forward to catching up with Jim a bit later on and chatting about it. But let's get into it. Plenty of other winners to talk about on the day as well, because it was a day where there were some pretty good horses going to the track. First event was the Rozzie Binder, turns 40. Happy birthday, Roz. Let's relive this race over the 1,200 metres.
From the judge and the leader, Battle Commander. 3/4 on the baldy face, Mean Machine. Right behind those next, Soldier of God, Schmoove Mover. Just seemed to lose a length or so back there in the field and is now being popped the question. Keep It a Mystery getting right up on the inside with Gold Maker. Mean Machine hit the front, Schmoove Mover coming at Mean Machine. Mean Machine, Schmoove Mover being tested by Carberry. Mean Machine for the moment holding Schmoove Mover, who now comes. Mean Machine, Schmoove Mover. Will he get there? He's taking an eternity. They'll hit the line. Bob of the heads, Mean Machine. I thought it was Mean Machine and no Schmoove Mover, who had to be fully ridden out by Carberry in the run to the line there. It's a tight go. In behind them, Gold Maker, Keep It a Mystery for third.
Yeah, Schmoove Mover did have a big dip in the line. I think it was actually just half a stride after the line, that dip. But Mean Machine holds it. They went to the steward's room. We've discussed that. And Darren McCauliffe and William Pike win the first.
Absolutely. Pike in the finish. It was... You look at the freeze frame and it was typical Pike, getting the nose down at the right time. He's just an absolute magician. Nice win, settling outside the leader. At this stage, there was a really strong breeze that the horses were forced to run into down the back straight, so I think you need to note that. But Mean Machine, he's always been a horse that there's been a big rap on, a fair amount of hype around as well. And Darren McCauliffe said post-race that he's just green, he's raw, and if it wasn't for the fact that he can get keen in his races, that he would have put the blinkers on and made him more tractable. But there yesterday, Willie Pike said that he was suited by just drawing out a fraction in barrier 6 of 8, and from there was just able to stride forward at his own accord, and from there travelled well and was nice and strong late.
Yeah, certainly was. The debutant and the favourite, Schmoove Mover, was still a nice enough run.
Yeah.
Of course, this was the race that was protested against when the winner had shifted out a few strides, but Schmoove Mover still looked a little bit raw, and I think that would improve with that run under his belt. The third and fourth placed horses I thought ran much better than reads on paper. Keep It a Mystery was settled 1-1. We've seen this horse settle on speed previously, but was just held up by tiring horses in front of her or him, and had to bide his time, Chris Parnham, aboard the horse, and you can see over the final 100 metres made really nice ground, and same as Steve Parnham on Goldmaker, who is looking for more ground now, but was held up behind the tiring leader, Battle Commander, I think it was, and just that fleeting moment, sliding door moment, was just held up at that crucial stage, but still made good late ground against the rail, and I think in a fortnight's time, when that 1400 is, that Goldmaker should be pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, going into this race, I thought this was an overly strong 3-year-old Saturday race, but I think coming out of it, I've actually changed my opinion. I like the fact that Mean Machine has finally put it together. Schmoove Mover has always had a rap on him, and I'm really liking the body of work from Keep It a Mystery and also Gold Maker, albeit I still a slight query on Goldmaker because of his racing pattern, but he proved me wrong in the sense that he was actually able to settle handier yesterday, but he was just held up along the inside.
What if that's a nick to look at? A Machino over a Universal Ruler mare?
Be good as a wet.
I've just looked up on Machino BreedNet, and there's not too many of them that I can see, so maybe Darren or whoever put that one together is onto something there. We'll keep an eye on that. We're going to race number 2 now. It is the Chartres Creations handicap over the 1,000 metres.
Banks Avenue on the inside of Snippy Witch, and a long way back Frappuccino, and toward the tail is Madam Kisses, but the favourite, the Hot Pot, making all the running, Bravo Centurion. It looked to be an absolute cruise mode going down to the 250, and led by 4 or 5 the stablemates, Bonnie Lad, Snippy Witch, followed further back by Banks Avenue, Frappuccino making late ground, but this is a one-act affair, and Bravo Centurion hugging the rail there is going to come away and complete a hat-trick of wins, a very promising horse in the making. Bravo Centurion scored by 4 Banks Avenue. Back on the inside, Snippy Witchfield.
Okay, tell us about this fellow. How good?
Very, very good. I think he's a star, Bravo Centurion. The way in the early stages of this race, Chris Parnham, it looked like he may settle outside the lead of Salt Lake Shake, but in the end just allowed Bravo Centurion to stride, allowed him to be a fast horse. And as soon as he crossed Salt Lake Shake, he was in front by 3 or 4 lengths. It was just incredible, the speed that he showed in the early stages of this race. And from there, he just didn't stop. He looks like he's speed on speed on speed. I love what he's doing throughout this winter preparation. I think he has carnival aspirations now. He is an absolute star, and I'm very excited to see where he can get to in the next 2 years. I think he's one of the more exciting horses we have here in the West.
Yeah, okay, that's a big wrap. He is. I really like him as a type as well. I'm probably not getting too carried away yet. Just from the form line's point of view, was coming up from a Class 1, I think. And
what about from looking at a horse and the way he races and what he's doing?
Beat Banks Avenue yesterday, but absolutely, he's a beast of an animal. Really, really like him as a type in terms of physically how big and strong he is. And I liked him back to 1,000 yesterday, although he won over 1,200. I think it was 1,200 his start prior. He just appeared to be tiptoeing the last few metres, or whether or not he's still just working it out and was a bit raw. But back to 1,000 metres in Saturday grade on a heavy track there yesterday, I thought he'd be pretty hard to beat. And gee, wasn't the money strong? He jumped $1.50. Mm-hmm. Well, didn't he open $3 or
there was a scratching? Yeah.
There was a scratching. Yeah, made in Mexico, of course, who was right in the market there as well. But geez, $1.50. He still was crunched in betting, and they were taking the price as well in the closing minutes. It was $1.80 into $1.60 into $1.50. And you're right in the sense of how strong the win was. He actually ran the fastest last 600 leading, and for a track that was pretty heavy, he ran 1 minute 89, which is actually a pretty good gallop on that type of effort. I think horses like Ginnivan were running similar times on a really heavy track when he was taken on the other week. So I think he's a pretty nice horse. And Banks Avenue just loves the wet. He was really strong late, heavy track. He's always going to be competitive.
By the sounds of things, Luke is going to monitor the way he pulls up in the next couple of days. But at this stage, it is his intention to keep him in work throughout this winter period. And I think that's probably, if you're playing devil's advocate, he's won on a soft 7, a soft 6 and a heavy 8 there yesterday. The big challenge for him when he eventually comes back into work throughout the summer carnival is, can he replicate these performances, and can Luke get continuity into his racing whilst racing on some firmer tracks? That's going to be the query I have on him, but I just love what he's doing. He actually profiles, and it reminds me a lot of a horse like Will Chino, the Dan Morton mare back in the day. She was winning early on in her career in a very similar fashion. In the end, I actually don't think she ever won a stakes race, but just the pure speed that she possessed, it reminds me a lot of her, and there's some real similarities between the two, I think.
Yeah, whether or not, because he is such a big brute of a horse, whether it was just too soon for him, but he was beaten in maidens on good tracks, and he's since seen 3 soft tracks and heavy tracks, and he's won all 3.
Yeah.
So whether or not that's just a coincidence because he is a 4-year-old now, and perhaps it was all just a bit too soon for him previously, but if he can produce a similar burst of speed on a good tracks, he's going to be a very nice horse moving forward. Snippy Witch, I thought was a good run, nice enough run. Looked quite fresh in the yard there yesterday, and it wasn't a bad return first up. It's quite difficult for horses first up on those sort of heavy tracks. Frappuccino would be better suited over further, made some late ground, but geez, you look at the beaten margins, this horse absolutely spanked them. Bravo Centurion. The only horse I really want to touch on was Salt Lake Shake. I thought was bitterly disappointing, but looking at his form on rain-affected surfaces, 4 starts now for only the 1 placing, and he just did not handle that track whatsoever yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if he bounced back on a better surface next start.
Okay, let's go to race number 3, the Key Clean Handicap over the 1600.
A little from Arnie's boy. Burnbrae next on the inside. We'll have to look for the shortest way home. Then Prince Tikia and Sluice Box homeward bound at the 350 now at Ultimate Style. Thorogood make their moves. Hemlock Stone keeps coming, however. Super Romany finds a bit of room down toward the inside. Burnbrae further back can't win. Hemlock Stone, which has been off the course all of the way, though, with 100 to go, races to the lead and shot away. Burnbrae starts to wind up late. Thorogood battles away. This has been a fabulous win by Hemlock Stone. Hemlock Stone off the course all the way, and still one with plenty in hand over Burnbrae, doing her best late from Thorogood.
Yes, one for our great mate Peter Morley, bellisracing.com.au. Hop on the website. They've got the ladies only special on there at the moment, and Hemlock Stone, that was a very big win.
Yes, big win. An interesting gear change that Grant Alana Williams made, and I'm not sure if that was the making of the horse or whether it was the fact that he was just out of trouble with plenty of galloping room. But this was a career best performance for mine. Hemlock Stone, 3 deep, no cover throughout, travelled into the race really nicely. And I think going into this race, I had a slight query as to whether he really appreciated these very wet tracks, but coming out of it, that was a fantastic victory. Heavy 8, bordering on a heavy 9. The way he travelled through the ground was superb. And, yeah, looks like Peter Morley, Grant Alana Williams and a big group of owners are going to have plenty of fun with this horse. I don't think he's a superstar, and Clint Johnson-Porter said as much post-race, but he's a horse that can certainly go through his grades and might even get out over a little bit further as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get over further. It's always not a concern, but I think you have to be cautious of when a horse produces such a big spike like that on such a rain-affected track. I think, was the track downgraded after this race potentially, or was it maybe a little bit later? I think it was later. A little bit later, okay. So it was a heavy 8 bordering on a heavy 9 anyhow, and was off the track the entire and spanked them, to be frank. So it was clearly a big spike. The blinkers did the trick, but perhaps he can go on with it around this time of year, but probably just mindful for punters on just the fact that he clearly just got through the going a lot better than the others. Burnbrae's just the ultimate bridesmaid, real trier, and has put together 2 really nice runs since joining Tony Triscari's yard, and it's going well, but probably just not a betting proposition. Burnbrae, she's about 1 from 20 now, I think. Thoroughgood's going well, and Ultimate Style I thought was a much better performance. The stablemate Super Romney probably only fair back in 5th.
Yes, I agree, Burnbrae. Now that Lover Session has finally saluted, she might be our new Lover Session that we can talk about every week. But fingers crossed a win isn't too far away for Burnbrae, because she's a model of consistency. And
Vasilev, the Gangemi runner, I just don't think likes these wet tracks, turned it up pretty quick and has never done anything on a rain-affected surface. Perhaps can be a better performer on good tracks next prep.
Okay, John from June Danner, he was the winner of last week's Sunday Saviour. So, John, you little beauty, and Sophie will be sending out some Tab Touch vouchers to you. Text line's open, 0427 789 571. Dylan's text in. Morning, Marty. Does Peng ever extend his tipping service to Calgary on a Sunday? Would love his thoughts on today's Tats Club meeting. No, we can't catch him for a Sunday, old Peng. He went well on Saturday without tipping a winner. He went, your horse Honeydew at 290.
At the place?
Well, that's what it played, the place.
Not allowed out on Sundays, is he?
No. Filthy Habits. He was
the house arrest agreement.
Yeah. Sold Nell was a bit unlucky as well, so he's around the place on Saturday, the old Peng.
We'll got it.
Yeah, we'll take a break.
You are listening to Racing Rewind on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
From heels now to get up onto the back and around. Yelling Up Girl, Penny on the Queen dropping out toward the tail on the fence. Requisition, Canny Jack coming at more special. Now making its move. Lover Session ranging up 200 to go. Yelling Up Girl can't go on. Lover Session, it reaches the lead, dashes away from them, and this exasperating run of minor placings is about to come to an end. And a runaway victory for Lover Session. Deserved it. Lover Session by 3.5. Caddy Jack Yelling Up Girl, followed by Bring the Bling More Special.
Okay, there it is. Love a Session finally for Adam Durant and Miss Lucy Fiore. Isn't she riding well, Mrs. Lucy Fiore? Beats Canny Jack and Yelling Up Girl with Bring the Bling back in 4th.
Very well deserved, Love a Session. First time in 318 days, but she had been the bridesmaid on so many occasions, and it was a lovely ride from Lucy. It was 3 back to fence, almost half-carting throughout down the back straight, but just was able to extricate her into clear air upon straightening. And in the end, she's won by 4 lengths. I think the fact that we laugh about Lover Session and her inability to win on a regular basis perhaps makes us forget about the fact that this was actually a very dominant victory. I'm not sure how much she beat in terms of the horses in behind her, but it was just great to see this mare in the winner's circle once again. And she's rated from a handicapping perspective in a way that she can continue to be competitive in these Westbead Platinum races. So I look forward to continuing to follow her throughout these winter months.
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't so much the fact that she hadn't won for over 300 days, but more the fact that she'd had 7 starts this prep and run second 6 times.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And all of those performances at one stage or another, she looked like the winner.
Yeah, that's when we were watching yesterday. I think someone said, Lover Session's home, and she always travels up to them, and that's usually when she turns it up a little bit. Whereas yesterday, if there was ever a horse on the card to get through the going, I think it was her. Sessions out of Pavlova, and I think on the dam side there were wet trackers there as well, so she was always likely to get through her first attempt on a heavy track, and she put them to the sword. Well-deserved win. Marty's right, the race was diluted somewhat with a few scratchings, but still a well-deserved win. Canny Jack has come back to racing really well, had to do it tough, and still finished off really well, was still strong through the line, I thought, despite the beaten margin. Yelling Up Girls becoming a tricky horse to follow. Yeah. I think in a similar vein to Lover Session, not really a betting proposition type, and the rest of them were beaten 7 lengths plus. So it was and of course Universal Flair, the horse I tipped, was well backed late and I thought looked a really suitable assignment, but unfortunately bled both nostrils. So unfortunate for connections there, but I think the tale of this race was all about Lover Session, a well-deserved victory.
I agree. Yelling Up Girl, I agree in regards to your comments with her. She's a horse that you can keep an eye on, I think. Some of her form in the Class 1s and Class 3s last preparation actually read quite well. The likes of Princess in Red, Fast Flicker. There was one or two other really nice types that she was running behind. Maybe worth keeping an eye on, but her winning record doesn't exactly give you a great deal of confidence. She's 1 from 13 with 6 minor placings.
And Adam Durant's hit the ground running this season. He's trained 10 winners in the first month, first 3.5 weeks. So the last season or two has been below what we've become accustomed to, a bit of a changing of the guard with these older proven horses either retired or heading out, and of course the Bob Peters split, but as he was always going to do, is regenerated himself, and 10 wins in the first 3.5 weeks is pretty good going. And I'm just looking at Lover Session, pretty good effort, was racing over a mile, second up, third up, fourth up, and then 1,800 metres, but clearly Adam thought she wasn't running out the trip, because since then he's dropped her back to 1,400 metres, and yesterday was 1,300 metres deep into a campaign. So you don't often see them come back so sharply in distance deep into a prep. I think that's probably a better training effort than what reads on paper.
And another good day for the Stallion Sessions as well. He wins the last, stands at Oakland Park stud for around 8,000. Didn't have, I'm sure if you rang Neville, he'll do a deal.
They are the facts, Marty.
Oh, they are the facts.
And what about Saloon Bar? Was a shock to me. Just did not handle that track yesterday, as the Sessions would probably be one of the only sessions not to do it.
And also, Lucy Fiore. Is she riding at the absolute top of a game at
the most in-form rider we have here in Western Australia over the last month.
Isn't he? I can't.
Top 3 in Australia. Just kick off the year.
Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're trying to give you a polish, Michael.
Hey, it's not mate. I'm not riding them.
No, that is for sure. Race 5, the Drummond Golf Handicap. This was over the 1,400 metres.
To quicken here as they come to the home turn. 400 to go over Manavendra. The Spruker on the inside third, followed by Jelly Can Run, Tenacious Reward category 3, and the Hot Pot to the outside, starting her move to third. Still 4 or 5 lengths off Wango Award, who's giving them plenty to catch. 200 to go. Wango Award a length and a half. Jelly Can Run. Deferred is coming down the outside. Wango Award with a kick though. Wango Award I reckon's got their measure. Jelly Can Run deferred, but Wango Award has done it all the way from Go to Woe, but Jelly Can Run deferred, and then Eagle Way.
Okay, tell us about this one, Lock.
Great ride from Clint Johnson-Porter. He assessed the race in the early stages. Nothing looked likely to want to take up the running, so Clint elected to stride forward, controlled the race from there, and I think the best part about this ride was that he got going before the corner. He didn't give any horse that was back in the field, namely Deferred, who was obviously the short-priced favourite, and I thought still ran very, very well, but Clint's ride out in front just gave nothing a chance to make up ground. Fantastic ride, and versatile mare. Clearly enjoys these slightly more rain-affected tracks, and it's nice to see her win from back. She showed a new string to her bow by leading there yesterday. Nice mare throughout these winter months.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was a wonderful ride. Nothing wanted to lead. You could see that through the first few hundred metres. They were all looking at each other, and Clint took the initiative, rolled to the top. I think he absolutely walked them without having a look at the figures and the data out of the race. It hasn't come out yet, but just visually, I think that a horse like Deferred was probably much better than what Reed's, because they didn't appear to be going fast whatsoever. Jelly Can Run had a really nice run, one out, one back, and loomed on straightening, but Wayne Go Award just gave that kick, and she wasn't able just to reel him down. Deferred touched on clearly the fastest closing sectionals of the race, found the line really well, and I wouldn't be giving up on her. She's a really nice type. I think they just walked them yesterday. Eeyore Ways was a good run, and Tenacious Reward I initially thought was bitterly disappointing, but going through his runs, every time there's been such a slow tempo, he's ultimately failed. I think he's a horse that really needs that more genuine speed, so he's probably his previous two efforts were outstanding, so I wouldn't be giving up on Tenacious Reward. I think he just needs a bit more tempo on.
And that's really interesting, because whenever I've interviewed Paul Roberts in regards to this horse, he's been quite open and honest in regards to this horse having a couple little wind issues.
Right.
And that is synonymous with horses with wind problems, that they need the speed on in order to relax.
Yep.
And obviously he didn't get those conditions yesterday, so he could be a big improver next start. Manavendra, he's ran last and he's beaten 4 lengths, but it wouldn't surprise me if he can bounce back next start. He's won 4 times at 1,700 metres or further.
Yep.
You'd presume he's on a Cal Cup path. That might have just been the second up run that he was just a touch flat in. I'll be keen to see him bounce back next start, and he could be at a big price as well.
I don't think he's ever gone any good in that position before. I think pretty much all of his wins and his top performances have been with cover. He found himself there just by default yesterday with that lack of speed. So whilst the leader won and the outside, and Manavendra ran last, sitting outside leader, which is disappointing. I just don't think he's the sort of horse that was suited for that. And you're right, just looking at Tenacious Reward again, he was very keen through that early and middle stages. So if he does have wind issues, no surprises that he wasn't able to finish off. Look for him to bounce back next start.
What's the immediate plans for Deferred? Do you know?
Well, she's getting deeper.
Talk about Hannons.
Yeah, there was some slight talk about Deferred after her about the Hannons, after her last start win. She's still quite lowly rated. That was her 4th start for the campaign, so I think you could
Hannons is 6 weeks away. I wouldn't have thought that'd be on the radar now.
Yeah, I'd presume that she might have 1 or 2 more runs, hopefully bank another win or 2, and then come back, and maybe they might throw her in the deep end and chase some black type in the fillies and mares races throughout November, December, but either way, I think she's going to be a genuine Saturday horse. I think it wouldn't surprise me to see her in a year's time have an 80, 85 rating from a handicapping perspective.
I thought she was a very big run. Race number 6, the Accolade Wines handicap over the 1,200 metres.
And it's near enough to the tail with 400 left to go. They balance up now, and it's XL Train who leads the way. XL Train by a length on Son of the Boss. Behind them, Russian Sniper looking for a bit of room. Pipe trying to find his way through the opening. Now it presents as Honeydew joins in 4 across the track. The Sniper bursting through. Now grabs the lead. Goes up on the inside. Russian Sniper of Son of the Boss. It's Russian Sniper edging clear, and another win here. What a fabulous horse he's been in this long preparation. He just keeps on delivering. Russian Sniper
keeps on winning, doesn't he? Beats Son of the Boss and Honeydew. So the J. Taylor gang, 2nd and 3rd, both ran really well. Sunny Honey back in 4th.
Russian Sniper, too good. Willie Pike, as he so often does, got that late split, but hats off to Adam Durant and his team. This horse, 22nd run for the preparation. His winning record is just outstanding. That was his 9th career win from 26 starts. He is just a beautiful bread and butter horse, and I think that was career best yesterday. That was a 72 plus, albeit re-handicapped, and previously had been racing in Westbead Platinum grade and just been getting the job done against some lesser types, but they were some genuine Saturday types that he beat there yesterday. You just don't know where this campaign will end. I think he's just going to stay and work, provided that he pulls up sound, and you know that he's always going to be around this price, and hopefully he can continue on his winning ways.
What a a mare, the Russian Sniper, I think it is, isn't it? The dam of this horse.
Russian Playmate,
sorry. Of Russian Sniper, of course. Produced the Group 1 winner, Come Play With Me. Yeah. Russian Sniper's won a couple 100,000. I think Blackwater Bay was in that family as well. She was at Shaney Bay that won on
Shaney
debut
by Playing
a
God
couple of weeks ago. So she's been a good producer. And now this horse has won over 200,000 for a horse that what looked to appear to have pretty limited ability and maybe West Speed Platinum level ability, has just had an outstanding campaign. Visibility was horrendous in this race. Even watching the replay again now, the jockeys would have had a tough time of it, but I thought Son of the Boss was still a really solid run. It just bumped into a horse that's absolutely flying at the moment and clearly loved the ground. Honeydew was off the track the entire, but just a dead set swimmer by Headwater, and she put in her best run of her preparation. So if she can strike a similar type of track moving forward, I think it wouldn't be out of her realms to be seeing her win another race. And Sunny Honey has put together some really nice performances of late. I thought that was a solid effort back and forth.
There are a few horses back in the field that really struggled to make up ground. I don't think they set any records out in front, and it was difficult for horses to make meaningful ground late. So perhaps you can be a little bit forgiving of some of those horses back in the field. But as you touched upon, visibility was horrible. If I was a horse back in the field, I don't think I'd be putting in too hard either.
Yeah. Looking at the track downgrade from later in the day as well, in the West Speed Platinum race, they ran 1:22.12 for the 1,300 metres. In the graduation 1,300 metre race on the Heavy 9 later in the day, they ran over a second slower for a slightly higher grade race. So it just goes to show the track really did deteriorate throughout the program.
Okay, we'll get the Morley Growers Market out of the way. Race number 7, a win here to No-Brainer.
Came Cruise to victory, followed by So Lucky, worked upon Mr. Cova, Invincible Ruby, and last is One Punch, but it's No-Brainer, the horse to run down. 300 from home, No-Brainer by a length and a half. On Dennis Chew, No Run, Soldanel down on the inside. Further back, So Lucky starting to run on with Cruise to victory. No-Brainer's the leader, 120 left to go. So Lucky is absolutely flying. It's No-Brainer, So Lucky coming. No-Brainer clinging on though, No-Brainer wins it narrowly from So Lucky, third Dennis Chew, and then Soldanel.
Okay, Michael, what about this win by No-Brainer for Dan Morton and Lucy Fiore?
Biggest betting move of the day, I think, this horse. It was enormous. We were in shock just watching the flux late. It was $7 with the WOP 15 minutes before the race. Jumped $3.50 favourite and was $3.10 on tote. It was just an avalanche of money. We were thinking the horse must be finding the front if it's if the money's going to be this strong. And in a race devoid of speed, it did lead. And whilst, as I mentioned just before, how slowly this race was run compared to the West Speed Platinum 1,300 earlier in the day, with seeing this was downgraded to a Heavy 9, it was still a really tough effort. He did it at both ends. Looked like So Lucky was going to go past him, but gave a nice kick on straightening, and he's put together a pretty handy race record to kick off his career. He looks like a really talented type.
Absolutely. I'm really keen to follow the first two across the line here. I don't think you can ever understate or underestimate the performances of horses doing this in their very first racing preparations. It's not easy to go to a Saturday and win or run really well in the case of So Lucky. Really like the look of them and just the way this race was run. I think So Lucky was very, very good late to get as close as she did.
She was one of the runs of the meeting, in my opinion.
Yeah, she was massive. And she was still off the bridle coming into the home corner. It still wouldn't surprise me if she is a mare now that appreciates some headgear, or she may not have actually really appreciated the track.
Yep.
So either of those scenarios, I think she's still a really nice horse for the Pierce brothers.
She was undefeated, maiden to a Class 3, and then she stepped up to a Saturday race and was not entitled to be as close as what she was in the finish. She's the follower of the meeting for mine. So Lucky. Dennis Shue's been very good. His last couple of starts, he's returned in pretty good order, and Soldanel was luckless, just could not work through her grades back in the field. There was some conjecture on social media about that she was insinuating that she may have been a good thing licked, but watching the replay a few times, I think there was a little gap if she was going that well that she could have got through. And Dennis Shue's actually a very big, strong horse, so I feel a bit sorry for Steve Parnham having to sort of angle his way out and muscle his way out. But the last 50 metres, I thought suggested that she probably wasn't going to win the race, but she still should have finished in the money. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. I really liked her run from the perspective that it looks like Steph Fahala may just keep her to these shorter trips now. I think
You've always hated the head carriage, haven't you, this horse?
Well,
Sold no.
yeah, she's always looked awkward, but you look at her record on paper, most of her best runs are either fresh or at a shorter trip. So he stretched her out on a couple of occasions. I don't think that's worked, but anywhere around 14 to the mile, I think that's where we'll see the best of her.
Northerly had a high head carriage.
Yes, he did. Yes.
They're starting to string out. Ginger Baker had got them running, coming to the corner, being followed further back then by Son of a God, and last of all with the job in front of it, Saloon Bar. Ginger Baker balances up by the 302 in front of Search and Rocks and Valor Road, and Varstart puts in his run as well from Weapon Sun. Further back is Minsk Moment. Varstart, Valor Road have quickly got to Ginger Baker with Search and Rocks also coming back tooth and nail. She now rushes through, grabs the lead, Search and Rocks from Valor Road, and Search and Rocks is going to give the Jim Taylor stable yet another win in the Idyllic Prince. Search and Rocks beat home Valor Road. Then Jim
And Jim Taylor joins us on Racing Rewind. Good morning, Jimmy, and well done on that win yesterday.
Yeah, thanks, Marty, Michael and Lochie.
Jim, congratulations on the win. How's it been the last couple of weeks? Because you've had the injury, and Lockie's been telling us he's been putting the polish on the horses, but it must be difficult for you to not be having your hands on them, so to speak.
No, a little bit harder, Michael. Haven't been able to. I sort of go to the stables and don't do much apart from grade the tracks and drive the truck. But Lockie and the staff know what all the horses have done for a long time, so I really don't have to tell them too much.
Now, I'm interested with the preparation of this horse because you usually trial your horses, often once, often twice, but Search and Rocks appears to be a bit of an anomaly. She has been first up, no trial a few times now with great effect. What's the reason for that?
We just work her harder, and it probably showed a little bit in the run yesterday. She sort of was off the bit and looked to be struggling because I knew she'd be racing on a likely slow to heavy track. She's been galloping for the last month twice a week, so we've really had the work kept up to her. So, she didn't really need the trial.
Yeah, okay, well, it's a terrific performance. What's the plan with her now? Because she'd be weighted out of the final in a fortnight's time, I suspect.
Lockie tells me there's a Blackheart Bard in 5 weeks' time. She can have a week in the paddock out with Idyllic Prince, and then 4 weeks into it's set weights and penalties, and mainly now she's probably she'll just go weight for age path probably most of the time.
Dad, on Idyllic Prince, what are some of your favourite memories from a horse that obviously means a lot to our family back in the day?
Well, his first good win, he won an Asian Bow, which was a very good win, sat 3 deep the whole way and blew him away. It must have been a freak that day. I think even Marty tipped him. It's probably, I think that was the last win of Marty tipped. Yeah, like Marty would probably remember him well. And probably his last start when he beat Playing God.
Yep.
We've seen what Playing God was able to do before in Group 1 races over East. And
was he a 9-year-old when he won that race?
May have been 10.
10, wow.
Yeah, 9 or 10, and then I just wanted to go out on a good note. Just that was his last start in the race. He won the Goodwood beating Playing God, so he went out on a very good note.
And I saw some footage of him yesterday with his rug on in a special paddock. I know you guys have the retirement paddock, but Idyllic seems like he's getting the special treatment. He's up there with the racehorses, not at the other farm.
Yeah. No, we've got the 200 acres. It's about half a mile away that Barrackey and all the other good ones are in. But for Mum likes to see him through a window, the house window every day.
Beautiful.
Because he's been a special horse for us, and just look out the front window and you see the big 30-acre paddock, and he's in there with a couple of horses.
Won over $1 million finishing his career in 2011, Marty, and some of these horses we were just riddling off air. Geez, there's some nice names there. Yeah. Tarzi, Had to Be a Clorker, Waratah's Secret.
That was a wonderful era, Jimmy, wasn't it?
It was a wonderful era for WA racing.
It was.
Yeah, well...
Grand Nirvana.
Yep.
El Presidente.
That long ago, he won $1.125 million. It's probably a little bit easier to get to $1 million then like something getting to $1 million now would probably win $2 million in stakes. So, it was pretty good for a horse to be able to do that with
Absolutely.
his feet issues he had.
What about the other runners? Son of the Boss and Honeydew both ran well?
Honeydew loves that sort of track, and her run was enormous, sitting 3 deep all the way, hitting the breeze. And also, Son of the Boss, I reckon he's probably at his best up to a soft 6. I reckon he's just not as, he doesn't let down, as there's still a great run, but I don't think that horse would ever beat him on a good track.
Jimmy, we've got to get moving. Speedy recovery. Thanks for coming on the program, and a genuine well done on yesterday.
Thanks, Marty, Michael and Lockie.
Jimmy Taylor leaves us there. What about the race, boys? Tell us about it.
Well,
Sounds like he's had a bit of a big night.
Yeah, he's tipped a few in.
Yeah,
he's
maybe.
round the clock back 30 years. Search and Rocks, we thought she was gone at the 200 just about. And it was a indifferent run, really. I think her class and her toughness and just how much she gets through the wet going really just came to the fore over the final stages, because she was brilliant late. I thought she was pulling away from them on the line, and a nice, classy performance. She's she's joined the $1 Million Club now, Searching Rock. Speaking about $1 Million earners, she's now done it with Westbeat earnings included. So congratulations to Connections for that. Valor Road, I thought, was a great run. I was a suspect on him yesterday, just whether or not the best was behind him, but you can't beat class, and I thought he finished off really well. And I said So Lucky was my follower of the meeting. Well, Vast Art is just behind her. I thought to be, as an 87 raider, to be producing that run against 2 genuine weight for age horses, he's going to take a power beating in a finally in a fortnight's time. If he heads that way back to a handicap, he could potentially get in on the minimum just about. And also the Hannon's handicap wouldn't be out of his realms either. I think Vast Art be following him moving forward.
Took the words out of my mouth. Completely agree.
Ginger Baker, a cheeky run as well. Saloon Bar, if you watch that, just did not stretch out, was not comfortable. A bit of an anomaly being by Sessions on the heavy track, but look for him to be giving a better account of himself back on a better surface.
Last of the day, the book into Peninsula Dining Room now over the 1600.
Field and Classic Rogue is the tail ender. Filthy Habits led 400 from the judge, joined by Savage. One fine touch down the outside joins them both. Falcon Trader runs on. Celebrity Witness searching for the way through. West River Miracles down on the inside, and further back behind them came Sensational, starting to run on. Filthy Habits, West River Miracle, and here comes Sensational. It's Sensational on the outside. West River Miracle the rail. West River Miracle and Sensational. Sensational the outside. Gets the head in front. Oh, it does it again. That is a high five for Sensational. And Pike bookends the card.
Massive win from Sensational. Back last in running. Once again, I don't think they set too many records out in front, but this horse, he's just a winner. 5 in a line. He goes out for a well-deserved break now, and it's hard to assess what his ceiling is. What is he capable of? Because he doesn't win by much, and he's not much to look at, but he's just an out-and-out winner.
Yeah, he's very unassuming, this horse, but he just knows how to win, knows where the finish line is. William Pike was a brilliant ride. West River Miracle, terrific run. Filthy Habits, tough as nails. And Classic Rogue, very luckless again. I think there's a win in him soon.
On Racing Rewind, it is time for the boys to look back and determine who are the black bookers, the ones to be on next start, the horses to follow.
Smooth mover. I think you can just keep following him. I think we'll eventually see the best of him on some firmer tracks come summer carnival time. He's a nice type. As Michael said, Vast Start, I think, in the Farnley. Hopefully he's at an each way quote. I thought that this morning, but as Michael said, he was very good. He might actually go around favourite. And Filthy Habits, in our preview yesterday afternoon, Scott alluded to the fact that there is a staying race next week for him. He might go around again. I think it'll be very hard to beat.
Yes, just the 2 for me out of yesterday. So Lucky and Vast Start, I thought, were both outstanding.
I'll throw one in today. Go for deferred. Broome Cup, well done to Calvin Moore. Christo Sardelic for Vinsky. It just bolted in, didn't it?
Tough
Massive
week for
win.
Christo. I thought it was a fantastic result for him.
Yeah.
Wowee. When it took it up before the bend, I thought, well, this is a courageous ride, but Christo knew what he was doing. Congratulations there to everyone involved with the Broome Cup, sponsored by 4X Gold yesterday. Well done to Matty Young, to his broadcast. Put plenty of passion into it. Love listening to that. Thanks, boys, for coming in.
Thanks, Mart.
Thanks to Soph.